So these are the assembly instructions for the small boxes for the back of my pickup truck. I have several boxes in the file and they are different sizes, but they all go together pretty much the same way. So I start by folding down on all the score lines. I have 4 vertical ones, 3 at the top, 4 at the bottom, and then I have this one remaining score line at the top of one of those top tabs. So next I'm looking at the inside of my box. I'm going to fold over on that second score line from the right, and I'm covering the tab with glue from the score line to the edge and then folding over the other end. So I want the cut edge of the other end to be right along the score line of my tab. So I'm popping my box up and I'm flipping it over, so I'm looking at the underside of my box. I'm going to fold down the 2 shorter flaps and I'm putting glue all over them. So I have the longest side towards me. So this is the lid with a small flap for the closure, and I'm folding down on the flap that's attached to it. And then I'm putting glue all over the one remaining flap and I'm folding it down. I want to make sure that the cut edges of both flaps are right against the score lines of the first flaps that I folded inwards. And then on the other end, I have the 2 short flaps and little flap that gets tucked in to close my box. So next I'm going to work on the ribbon that I've put on the boxes. So I have a long strip and I'm using red line tape. You could actually use glue here or regular double-sided tape. I just have this really narrow red line tape that I'd like to use on this. I'm just running it the length of my strip. I'm removing the liner on my red line tape. I'm taking my box and I'm closing it. So this is the front flap. I'm positioning my strip at the score line and trying to center it vertically. Then I'm wrapping the rest of my strip around until it meets up with the top. And then I'm opening my box. And then I'm cutting it at the top of my panel, like so. And then I'm going to open my box again. I'm starting my strip at the score line that's just below that flap, and I'm trying to center it along the panels as I go. And so with that flap folded down, I'm just snipping off the excess. I'm taking leftover strip, so I've got it on all 4 sides. This is my lid, and I'm just going to adhere this to my lid. And then again, snip off the excess. So that way I can still open my box because it's not attached at the sides, but I have the cardstock that looks like ribbon running all along the 4 sides, the top and the bottom of my box. So next I'm going to make the bow. I'm snipping my strip at about 2 1/4 inches. I'm putting a little piece of red line tape just at the very end of it. I'm removing the liner on my red line tape. I'm taking one of my Cricut tools and I'm just wrapping my strip. The other end is covering the red line tape like so. So it makes a ring. And then I'm putting a little tiny bit of glue on the inside of the ring where the joint is. I've got 2 craft dowels. I'm putting one close to me and the other one away from me. And I've got that dollop of glue right in the center. And then I'm taking my reverse tweezers and pinching my ring together at the center. I can remove my dowels. I'm putting glue where the joint is in the center, placing it diagonally on the top of my gift. And I'm going to place an adhesive back rhinestone in the center of my bow. And so that's how I made the little gifts for the back of my truck.